to smoke drugs, okay, before you started shit. You were fucking nervous as fuck. I even texted you.
Yeah, because you started fighting with me too, okay?
You don't like this shit. Yeah, because you don't tell me what's going on.
Yeah,
that's why.
Because you're on a need-to-know basis, okay?
I find out through
you can't handle my life.
I told you.
You can't handle the truth, okay? Listen.
Okay, but I need the truth. That's why I'm with you.
Yeah, you got it. That's why you're in the other room watching my stream, and you'll figure out everything that's going on.
I'm not in your walls, okay? I'm your fucking wife. I'm not just gonna sit and watch the stream and find shit out.
Well, listen.
Like, what the fuck? You've been talking to Anna for a fucking year?
Yeah, we're chill.
Idea.
We're cool. Now that I trust you, like, oh my god, we can share in these experiences. Like, I'm about as willing to engage in any experience that he wants to. Assuming I'm not going to get like destroyed or something. Like, I'm not going to buy a house with you or something. But you know, basically everything else is on the table.
I think that's a great idea. Then we would have to trust each other.
Okay.
Get a vacation house?
Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah. Just let me save for 5 years.
Gotcha.
Okay. So yeah, that makes me sad.
Well, I'm sorry. Don't be sad.
Because I actually trust you.
You should. I'm a pretty trustworthy person. I have a long history of I don't f people over unless they attack me publicly. I'm like a pretty helpful person.
Yeah, but
it's
like, it's one way though, right?
I mean,
like I trust you in the definition of even if you had a lot to gain by taking me over, I don't think you would.
Yeah, I don't think I would. I think I'm a pretty trustworthy person.
You know what the problem with your calculation is?
What's the problem?
You only you're assuming everyone is a sociopath. Because
no, I wish they were. Let
me explain. Because when you weigh what I have to gain versus what I have to lose, you place nothing on the emotional pain it would cause me to hurt you. You place nothing on me caring about your well-being. You place nothing on morality. That is not factored into your calculation. It is subscribers, money, social standing, things like that. That is the only thing that factors in. So you in your evaluation of who to trust, you assume everyone is a psychopath.
I think that morality is nothing. Nobody thinks about morality. They might have like an intuitive feeling of what might make them feel good or bad, but nobody's thinking of like morality when they're thinking about somebody over.
I think I do.
I think at one point in time I considered this. You might, but you'd be the exception. So at one point in time I considered how I associated with people because when I associate with people, something that I've learned through my 20s is I have to kind of make a lot of guesses about the emotional states of people and how that'll influence how they make decisions. Because I think I don't make decisions in the same way sometimes, but a lot of other people seem to. So for a while, I think it led me to be a little bit people acted in ways that I didn't expect. It's like, well, hold on, how can this person f me over? Like, I haven't done anything like that f up to her. How can a person do this? This is like really weird to me. I feel like I've done so much. But I think what I've kind of learned recently is when somebody's f***ing somebody over, the reason there aren't any bad feelings that they have to deal with, because in everybody else's mind, they've always convinced themselves that they're in the right for doing so. So they don't actually have to deal with those types of bad feelings because they're always the hero of their own story, and they always have good justification for the reasons they're acting. So I think it's a little bit of a waste of time for me to try to guess like, okay, well, objectively, I've done like a decent amount of shit for you. How the f can you do this to me? Because in their mind, they've already convinced themselves, well, Destiny's a horrible person. He's done this horrible shit. Like, I can do this, and it's actually okay.
Can you...
I don't actually think that Lav or Anna or Shaylin are that much in the wrong. I think that Max is actually like a full-on narcissistic manipulator who's abusive to every single person in his orbit. Probably worse than any other person I've ever seen in my entire life. I kind of got that inkling over the Shaylin videos, but truthfully, I'm willing to extend like, well, maybe there's stuff I'm not seeing. Maybe there's something I don't understand. Yeah, you know, like maybe there's something going on behind the scenes or whatever. So I'm like willing to wait for data to come in, but especially watching him interact with Lav on his stream and then seeing how Lav has changed her disposition and then seeing the types of messages that Anna sends me now and then hearing about what Shaylin is saying on Chud Logic's stream, now I understand way more like what's going on. That Max has a certain impression. He's able to emotionally abuse or gaslight or manipulate people around him into feeling a certain way. And he draws them in such an unbelievably effective way that he can get them to feel almost whatever he wants them to. And I think that he's done that now with people in his immediate orbit. So where do we go? It didn't work on you though. Well, because obviously I'm not manipulatable. Not like that, okay? I'm trying to think of the order I want to do this in. Let me put together what I think Max's mind looks like. Okay? This is what I think. I think that Max is extremely narcissistic. And when I say narcissistic, what I mean by that is I don't know if Max can ever be wrong about anything. I don't know if he ever sees himself as being in the wrong. I think that if something happens and it is wrong, it's because other people either don't understand, or other people are trying to abuse him, or other people are making mistakes that just puts them outside of the ability to understand what's going on inside of his head. I've noticed this conversationally when he talks to people. He seems unwilling to ever back off a read he has on somebody. And I've noticed this when it comes to settling interpersonal drama with the stuff with Lex Friedman, or that professor that he blew up on his stream, or that he blew up on Twitter. It seems like he can't ever take any kind of feedback there. And I've noticed it, there was one more thing I was going to say. I think, what was I going to say? Professionally, it happens interpersonally, it happens during conversations. We're going to get to me. That where, anytime something negative happens, it's always some other person's fault. It's always like another person that's making these mistakes. So I think the scary thing is that in Max's mind, Max is the hero of his own world, and nothing can get in the way of that. Like if he's on a mission, if he's on a crusade, he has to, he's the only one that can be tasked with figuring things out. And if you misunderstand, you just have to talk to his most loyal fans. So they'll tell you, you're not smart enough to understand if you don't otherwise, right? Damn. I'm trying to think of how much I can even say. A few days ago, I started to get a whole bunch of messages from people saying that, I'm not going to say who, but it's been a lot of people that have been reaching out to me saying that Max has been contacting every single woman I've ever had in my Discord in the background, and a whole bunch of men trying to get lists of women that I've ever spoken to. And in his mind, he's built up this idea that I have essentially the following fetish. That I approach a woman, I float the idea of her being on my stream. If she f***s me, I f*** the woman. Then I bring her on stream and I have my entire fan base attack her because I get off on that. And then I run her out of my community. And I think he's built almost this entire narrative off of mining Anna, personally, for stories and information. I don't know when they started talking, but I think that he's really good at talking to people and building them up in the ways that they want to be built up so that he can get the information from them that they want to give him. And yeah, him and Anna have been talking a lot in the background. He's got this archetype or narrative in his head for how I treat women on my stream. And he's also got Lav, who I guess Lav revealed that we hooked up. Now you know how irritating it was every time she would claim that I'm only defending a woman because we hooked up with them, blah, 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 but I can't be public about the fact that we hooked up. So between him, Lav, and Anna, now he has in his head, he's built up this archetype in his head of this is what Steven does to people. I've got two women here who maybe feel abused or mistreated by his community. And then what he's doing is he's trying to find every other girl that I've spoken to see if that he could get similar stories out of them. Now, I don't know how many women he's talked to so far, 10 or 20 or 30 or more. I know that he's been trying desperately to get in contact with people like Denims and Bad Bunny. I know that he's messaged a ton of people asking for lists of women that I've spoken to. I know that when I found this out 2 days ago, I started going down my list of friends and right-clicking and doing the properties, and I suddenly started to notice that MrGirl was mutual friends with every single girl on my friends list that I've ever spoken to. And I think what he's doing, and I can't prove this, I don't know, but if anybody wants to come forward and share, I think what he's doing is I think he's calling all of these people in the background, and I think that he's asking them through long conversations or trying to convince them that I'm doing something improper or wrong. This is extra frustrating for a few different reasons. One is because there are some people that MrGirl, I think, can only confront because of very personal and very private information that I've told him. So he's taken that information and he's basically used it to lie to other people or attack me in the background, which is very frustrating because it's very rare that I share a secret with somebody. Don't have very many.
Do you think it's fine if he sent the same message to dozens of women? Yes. Hey, I believe there may be a concerning trend of how DGG treats women. Would you like to get back to me? That is a fine thing to send to dozens of women. Yes. That is like a journalist thing to do. Yeah, it's a perfectly fine thing. He's not? Come on. I'm answering a question. That is not fine? How is that not fine? What?
Crazy, then I'm just going to come on and say
he's not a journalist? It doesn't matter if he's not a journalist. He can inquire in a journalistic way. Anybody can do that. Anybody can inquire or investigate a claim of misconduct from Destiny's community. That is ridiculous. You guys are just saying that nobody can investigate whether or not Destiny's community has unethical practices with women. You're fucking insane. So you're saying if I wanted to investigate whether or not Destiny was engaging in any unethical practice at all, let alone with women, I just can't do that? I can't approach these women at all? I can't have a conversation with them at all? It's just fucking ridiculous. You and Steven bad? I never said Steven was bad. I said that he was engaging given my current information, I don't think he should be, I think he's engaging in an unethical relationship with Anna.
How many different people did you confirm that he contacted? I'm not going to release numbers because I don't really want him to know what I know. Is he doing this because of the subreddit stuff? I don't really know what flipped the switch in his mind. Do you have any evidence or receipts? I have a ton of evidence and a ton of receipts, of course. I'm not going to go public with something like this with somebody that's shady without obviously having some idea what's actually going on in the background. I don't really want to quote any of these in particular because I don't want him to know who sent me stuff, but he's used phrases alluding to the fact that I like very carefully choose which women I want to victimize. He's repeated this pattern that like my goal is to abuse women by bringing them on stream and having my community make fun of them after I fucked them. I'll say it. I've said it a million times. If anybody out there, any woman ever feels like I'm being improper, feel free to like show in DMs where I'm pressuring you or grooming you or doing any weird shit like that. Those DMs don't exist because it doesn't happen. The only thing that I'm a little bit worried about when it comes to Max is because he's so manipulative. The struggle that I have is that I think he probably could get like 2 or 3 girls like out of their head and like try to get them on stream. It's like, oh yeah, actually, you know, when I think about this kind of feels like really bad because his community made fun of me or some shit. And even if I have a really good response, if I get like 3 or 4 girls in a row that all have these types of like emotional stories, it just makes me look bad no matter what. Have you hold on, hold on, because I know the narrative you're trying to sell, where she's explicitly saying,
what narrative am I trying to sell? What did I say?
That I'm like, that I'm keeping her on like some weird, like sexually abusive string. When I've asked her plenty of times, like, do you still want to talk? Do you want to do whatever? And she's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, well, as long as you want to, sure, that's fine. But I haven't shit talked her on stream. Sometimes she loops on her stream about me. I don't respond to it on my stream. And I say, everything's cool, like we're pretty chill. And then boom, that's it.
Well, the narrative I have is that while she is getting publicly dogpiled by your community and is labeled as a stalker,
why is she getting publicly dogpiled by my community?
And she's labeled as a crazy person and a stalker that no one is allowed to talk about, and that Lav even mentioning her to you made you threaten to cut Lav off permanently.
Why is she considered a crazy person in my community?
That's not I'm not answering that question. That's not what I'm talking about.
It's important because you're blaming it implicitly on me. Me and Anna have talked about this before.
It is a fact.
It doesn't matter, Max. It matters where the facts come from. So something that Anna...
It is a fact that Anna is labeled as a stalker in your community.
Okay, hold on. I'm muting you for a second, okay? So what's happened is when Anna goes live on her stream and then she starts looping, that gets attention on places like Kiwi Farms. Oh, he left. Okay. Easy. Boom.
That's not I'm not answering that question. That's not what I'm talking about.
It's important because you're blaming it implicitly on me.
So I believe there is, wait, just to be clear, Destiny absolutely has a role to play in the narrative that Anna is crazy. That is absolutely the case. if not at the very least, some of the things that he said about her BPD, didn't he say some shit like that for a long time, that she had like BPD, that she was, I think straight up, he's called her crazy several times. And very importantly, no real pushback against people calling her crazy. I would say that there's a lot of people that in Destiny's orbit that calls her crazy, that he has not given proper pushback against them and said, no, I don't think she's crazy. He just lets them say what they say and then just like hands off. He's hands off about it. So I think that the idea that he has no part to play in the narrative that she is crazy, that is not true.
Do you think he's nuking for content, or he actually believes this narrative? No, I think that for MrGirl, in his mind, I think he actually believes all of this. I think that he really does believe, because in the mind of a narcissist, you're never wrong. He thinks that he's like the hero, like saving these people from the ashes or some shit. I think the thing that bothers me the most is that Max, aside from like being like a literal rapist, like talking about how like, oh yeah, when women say no, I f them anyways because I know what they really want.
Then why don't you call the cops?
And I don't mean y'all's relationship on like a, social level. I mean, in terms of like their future economic gains. Cause I mean, somebody said it, there's a thread on Twitter and somebody said it and they were like, hey, it seems like as soon as Destiny, like, wasn't willing to go back on the Reddit stuff, I mean, the subreddit stuff, this is when you backstabbed them. Mm-hmm. And it does appear to me, this is just how I feel about it. He saw that he was going to go through some loss of either viewership or loss of eyeballs and blah, blah, blah. And that's what fueled this, because it's too close.
I don't think, no, I understand why you're saying that, but I don't think that's the case at all. Like if I was in Max's position and I was a sociopath, or I was more manipulative, or not manipulative, Machiavellian, like less narcissistic, I would have just rode the wave and then like kept riding. Because like from a business perspective, like I'm the largest like creator that's ever going to give him the time of day, right? Like there's no, like from a logical business point of view, he can ride my coattail, especially as I'm on like the cusp of like blowing up and shit. Like he could have been on all these black panel drama streams, like saying some crazy shit. Like he could have been on all of that. So I don't think he's making decisions based on like, oh, he thought he was going to lose eyeballs on a stream. I think it's coming from a deeper place, like genuinely a huge place of like, he's narcissistically thinks he's the hero that's going to save the fucking world and shit. I really do, but all right, any final thoughts?
No, that's it.
Okay.